I believe when Samsung was planning for the Galaxy A55, they picked up the A54, looked at it and was like, how about we go a little premium? Let's add an aluminum frame, upgrade the display protection, then let's give them more Exynos. They love it. Another thing they love, those bezels. Actually, it does feel more premium now, especially because of the flat metal frame. Now, in the unboxing video I posted, I saw a lot of comments saying that it looks too much like the S24 Plus. But does it though? I mean, looking at those bezels and the slight bump on the right frame, I believe it's called the button island. In my opinion, I think it makes sense to now differentiate the S from the A series thanks to that bump or button island. But if you're not seeing the sides, you're definitely not telling it's an A series phone. So for this video, I'll be reviewing the Galaxy A54 based on my experience with it so far, also while comparing it to the A54. Is it exactly a better phone or an upgrade per se? I mean, it's a fine phone just by holding it, and if you pay attention to the details, you can tell that apart from the A54, the camera bumps, the individual camera bumps are bigger on the A55. And it's a slightly bigger device. It feels more premium on the hands thanks to that flat metal frame. There are 4 color options with the Galaxy A55, all with a glossy red finish just like the A54. This one is called the Ice Blue or Awesome Ice Blue. Looks more like one of the cool shades of grey to me. We now get a more durable build with Gorilla Glass Victus Plus on both the display and the rear of the Galaxy A55. The metallic frame is made of aluminum and it is matte textured. I already have a couple of dents on mine with just about 2 drops since I got the device. Thankfully, the frame took the damage. Design-wise, in comparison to the A54, you could summarily say what has changed its build quality and size. In comparison to the Galaxy A35, aside the metallic frame, they look the same. Now, one more question we'll be answering at the end of this video is whether the A55 finally has what it takes to succeed in Galaxy A73. Because right now, that's still a better phone than the A54. And if you remember correctly, the A73 was the last of the A70 series. So, this still has some big shoes to fill. It looks like the Galaxy A55 is not going to be available in the US. I'm actually curious why, seeing that the A50 series is usually among their best sellers. Well, only Samsung knows. Maybe the US is not much of their market after all. One thing I must commend Samsung for is still maintaining the SD card slot for their mid-range phones. Now, while they don't add a charging brick or other accessories to their phones, you get to keep that SD card slot, so you don't necessarily need to go for the maxed out memory version. You can get the more affordable base version with 128 gigs of storage and expand it with an SD card. Although it's a hybrid slot, so you don't get to use the SD card if you want to use 2 physical SIM cards. But the A55 now supports eSIM. That makes it the first Samsung mid-ranger to have eSIM support. So even if you have more than one SIM card and you still want to use an SD card, you simply use your other number as an eSIM. In Nigeria, I believe MTN and Airtel supports eSIM. Now, the Galaxy A55 has a starting price of around $450. In Naira, that's about 589k. Now, good to see that the pricing is reducing thanks to the improving exchange rate. I got mine significantly costlier, like over 600k. Now, like with the A54, this one has a base RAM of 8 gigs. Some regions might get a 12 gig option, but 8 gigs is what we get here. On the display specifications, aside the upgraded Gorilla Glass protection and increase in size by about 0.2 inches, the Galaxy A55 has pretty much the same display specifications as its predecessor. For those wondering, the A55 and A35 has the exact same display specifications, no difference. I have a video that directly compares the A55 and A35 so you can decide which is better value. Now, back to the A55. It is that same Super AMOLED HDR10 Plus display we've come to love from Samsung. As vibrant as you'd expect and one of the best looking displays on any mid-range phones, except the thick bezels of course. It has a really bright display that gets as bright as 1000 nits in high brightness mode, so it's a suitable one even for outdoor use on a sunny day. We still get 120Hz high refresh rate for smooth operation within the UI. Now, variable refresh rate might seem too much to request at this price point, but Tecno seems to be adding it to their upcoming Camon 30 Premier. It's only a matter of time before it becomes mainstream for mid-range devices. A man can dream, right? But nothing to complain here as far as the display of the Galaxy A55 is concerned. I believe some might be happy about the increased display size, while others might not be so happy about it. Not everyone wants to use big phones, some want to stay under 6.4 inches. Sadly, to get a phone below that, you either get a Pixel 7, 8 or one of the compact flagship phones. The optical fingerprint scanner on the Galaxy A55 is not the fastest I've used, but it gets the job done. The A55 has stereo speakers as expected, they sound great, and I'd say it's improved compared to its predecessor. You'll notice on the bottom frame the speaker grill is no longer a grill but a single opening, just like with the S24 series. Let's talk software. One UI 6.1 alongside Android 14 is what we get here. But don't get too excited about One UI 6.1. There is no Galaxy AI nor the complete One UI 6.1 features you see on the flagships. Still no DeX. While you now have the lock screen customization and the ability to add widgets, you can't have that always on display style that dims the wallpaper like the flagships. But in terms of stability or smoothness, it is satisfactory for the most part. Although it still has the occasional subtle stutters within the UI, slight delays and some shutter lag when using the cameras. But it's nothing that significantly affects the user experience, and as an average user, you barely see it as a problem. Overall, One UI remains one of the most reliable Android custom skins. It won't be a bad idea if Samsung brings DeX support this way though. Now, Samsung's 7 years of software update policy did not extend to the A series, so it's still 4 years of upgrades, which I believe is still the most you get for any mid-range phone right now, so good on that. The Galaxy A55 is powered by the Exynos 1480, which is an improved 4nm processor coming from the 1380, also evidenced from its high benchmark scores. It is capable of powering the A55 just fine. It has been well optimized for battery life and your average day-to-day smartphone use, including multitasking, but it falters to some extent when it comes to gaming. You cannot rely on this phone if any of the Call of Duty titles is your favorite. I tried the new Warzone mobile on the A55 and each time I tried, I can barely make it past the first few seconds entering a battle without the game hanging or even crashing, and sometimes with the error system UI not responding. Now, you could attribute this to the fact that Warzone Mobile is not exactly the most optimized game right now for smartphones. But it runs fine on the Galaxy A54, although on low graphics, but it runs fine. And just to be sure it's not just me, I asked someone else using the A55 and they had the exact same problem. Do let me know if you own this phone and you have better gaming experience, especially with Warzone Mobile. And also with the OG Call of Duty Mobile, you only get graphics and frame rate option you'd expect from an entry-level phone. Low graphics and high frame rates. Even the Helio G99 powered Galaxy A15 will do much better. You could argue that it will get better with time when it has more optimization, just like we saw with the Exynos 1380, but I don't think there's anyone out there who wants to spend money on a phone with the hopes that it will be optimized later along the line. But the good news is that it doesn't perform this bad on all games. Particularly PUBG Mobile works great with graphics settings up to HDR and ultra frame rates. You can get extreme frame rate when the graphics is set to smooth. Seeing that it handles PUBG well actually shows its potential with other high graphics titles if optimization is done right. Samsung still maintains the 25 watts charging speed for the A55, not the fastest when compared to other mid-range smartphones, but it's still within the safe range and it's not exactly slow. For its cameras, the A55 carries on the same configuration as the A54, same 50 megapixel main camera, 12 megapixel ultra wide, 5MP macro and 32 megapixel selfie cameras. It does not disappoint when it comes to taking great pictures, and it still maintains its reputation as being one of the best you can find around its price point. Compared to the A54, the results are similar sometimes. Other times the A55 gives better results, and some other times I prefer what I'm getting from the A54. On the selfie camera, however, the A55 takes sharper looking photos. Overall, the improvements to the cameras coming from the A54, which already takes great photos, is not major. It's improved, but they're still close. The Galaxy A55 can record videos at 4K 30 frames per second from both the selfie and the rear cameras. It has good stabilization when recording in 4K and even better at 1080p. Can you tell which of these videos were shot on the A55 or A54? One thing the A55 gets which is absent on the A54 is dual video recording. You can now record videos using both the selfie and rear camera at the same time. So, you're looking at video footage from the selfie camera of the Galaxy A55 and A54. Right from the viewfinder, I can see the A55 doing a much better job. It's sharper with a bit of background blur. For some reason, the A54, it looks as if it's even more focused on my background than on what's in front of the camera. I'm not sure why that is. Both are currently shooting 4K 30 FPS. They have the same camera configuration. It's a 32 megapixel selfie camera. Also, I'm outside. It's a bit windy, a bit noisy. Which of the mics is speaking my voice well? That's the sky behind me. Not sure what's going on with the A54, but I don't even know, even if it's after processing. Definitely, both phones are on the current, the latest software, so I'm not sure what's up with the focus on the A54. The Galaxy A54 is a solid mid-range phone that checks most of the boxes for the average consumer. The cameras perform great, software experience is good, build quality places it on the premium side. But if you're coming from the A54, there is not much to choose this as an upgrade. Now don't get me wrong, this is a more improved device than the A54 in most areas, and it will only get better. The cameras are better overall, especially with the selfie camera, and it's a more premium phone. If you're choosing between this and the A54, definitely this. But the Exynos 1480 could still use some more optimization, especially for gaming. Also, while the software One UI 6.1 is good, it still takes a while to offer smooth operation when you just power it on. And I've also had one occasion where I could not launch any apps. It just closed them each time I launched. If you're coming from the A73, sorry to tell you that you won't find this much of an upgrade either. You best start considering the S23 FE, or maybe wait one more year for the A56. Maybe then it should be an upgrade. You still have the option of picking up one of the older flagships though, say from the S21 and above. I have the Galaxy A35, which is probably better value than the A55 as it runs on the Exynos 1380 and it's more affordable. I'll be reviewing this one soon, so be sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss that. Also, do let me know in the comments if you like a comparison between the A55 and A35 or Redmi Note 13 Pro Plus. That will be all from me.